Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. How's everybody's breakfast? Their coffee, you feel caffeinated, you're ready and energized for the day of learning ahead? Give me some more energy than that. You clearly don't have enough coffee. All right, that's better. Hi, I'm Alyssa Smith. I'm the Director of Event Programming here at Ragan, and I will be the one in the back in the side of the room with a clipboard the whole time, looking increasingly nervous. So if you have any questions or any concerns or anything at all that you would like to talk about, come find me. I am sure I can help you either find a session or answer your question or direct you to someone who can. So hi, pleasure to meet you, pleasure to see all your faces. Super excited about the day of programming we have both today and tomorrow. I'm going to tell you one thing is that we always have more seats in the front. Come to the front. There's no splash zone, I swear. We will not be initiating any of that. This is not SeaWorld, but if you are looking for a seat, there's plenty I see in all the tables right in the front row. So come forward. All of our sessions have about a 10-minute break between each of them, so you'll be able to filter up to the front if you are looking for a seat. But I'm going to be opening this up for our opening ceremonies after our breakfast session. So it's my absolute delight to introduce you to Gideon Pridor, the CMO and Chief Storyteller at Workvivo. Please give it up for Gideon.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Ragan event. You are in for a treat. You're going to be able to watch me while you're eating, and I'm going to be able to watch you eating while I'm speaking. Isn't that like wonderful? So I talked to a bunch of you that came from all over the US, which is awesome. You're in for a treat, really. I just talked to the guys in this table about the fact that we don't have a lot of good events around comms with real content. Ragan is definitely the exception. All their events are excellent, so you're in the right place. I'm going to be talking a little bit about us, but I promise it's a little bit. I'm not going to be selling anything to you. I'm going to talk a lot more about what is our belief system in the company that I work for, Workvivo, which is about opening up communications, converging external and internal communication, and maybe the changing role as we see it of the communicator role in a company, it being a lot more critical if you compare this role to what it used to be in 2019, how it used to be perceived by leadership, by CEOs, and that convergence that is happening between external communications and internal communications. A lot of how many people here run social media externally? Could you please raise your hand? And how many people also or just manage internal communications for their companies? Yeah, a lot of people that I talk to do both things, external and internal. And as I told them, that means to me that you are the people to blame. You're very brave people. So let's hit the road. Some context about Workvivo. Workvivo is, we call ourselves an employee experience platform. I know it sounds like a buzzword, but it doesn't mean it's not true. I'll tell you what it means in a second. We help companies easily reach, meaningfully connect, and engage their people everywhere, digitally, bringing their culture to life, letting them recognize each other, hearing directly from the leadership, talking to each other in a more asynchronous way, thinking mainly about that connection, that engagement, with a lesser focus on productivity, like 90% of the communication tools out there. Our customers coined the term their digital heart, like in the quotes that you see by for example, Bupa's CEO, it's the biggest insurance company in the UK, or the glue that brings all the company together digitally. It's a story we used to tell before COVID. It's a story prospects and companies are telling us and looking for increasingly since COVID, as this is becoming so critical. We are a rather new company from 2017. We've been acquired last year by a company called Zoom, and now we're a Zoom company. It's a different acquisition because Zoom is a very productivity-driven company. So we are extending Zoom's portfolio to something that is not about getting your job done or working together. It's more about being together and having more creative ways to communicate and have everybody informed and engaged, whether they work in the office, remotely, or in the front line. We're keeping Workvivo as an independent company that works as a Zoom company. So it's going to stay that way. We've been growing very fast, actually the fastest in the market. As you'll see later, it's a big, big, wide platform, and it covers 4 main pillars: internal communications, employee engagement, digital workplace, which is a nicer word for intranet, because we replaced the intranet, but this word is so terrible, it sucks the energy out of the room, right? So I just like, I don't allow my team to say the word intranet. They have to choose other words to describe what we do. And then measurement and analytics. Let's start talking about the problem a little bit. I think we all know that we solved or commoditized collaboration, especially since COVID. Everybody works on Zoom or Teams or other platforms. Even my mother uses Zoom, in order to micromanage the family from everywhere. Everybody knows Zoom. But I think we all felt that while we started to work a little bit more remotely, the human aspect of work, the human experience, was taking a hit. You know the feeling of working from a meeting to a meeting to a meeting to a meeting virtually, and suddenly you forgot to eat lunch, right? A lot of these things are happening. Something in the balance that we used to get by seeing people a little bit more got hurt. People that always used to be not in the office, 70% that work in the front line, in the front desk, in the mine, wherever that is, 70% of the workers used to be excluded, treated as human resources. Expectations changed a lot since COVID. Every research shows that nobody wants to be selling their time anymore. People are looking for connection, they're looking for meaning, and that aspect needs to be solved. Engagement is in an all-time low. People are less connected. 60% being defining themselves as quiet quitters. What does that mean? Checked out emotionally, not giving it their best, would leave their job for a 5% increase. That's a big problem. It's very tied to communication and engagement. This little research by McKinsey from last year shows something really interesting. Employers cannot fix what they don't understand. They asked a big group of employers and employees, why is this happening? Why are you not connecting, right? And it's amazing to see how different the answers are. They all mentioned the same things. But while employers went for transactional reasons, salary, terms, I want to work more flexible, remote, employees mentioned these things, but the top 3 were not transactional, they were relational reasons. It's about being appreciated by your boss, being appreciated by the company, which a vast majority feels that they're not, and feeling that sense of belonging. Relational reasons. So employers can't fix what they don't understand, and my first quote of the day by one of my heroes, Shirley Chisholm, the first African-American congresswoman, that says, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring in a folding chair. Everybody today wants a seat at the table. Maybe they can't get a seat at the table. They need a seat at a table. They need to feel appreciated, informed, know what's going on, not just be renting their time every day. Communicating to them, keeping them informed, in the loop is a big part of that. With 80% of the workers not in the office every day, that's frontline and people working increasingly hybrid, it's the #1, according to research. This is Gartner, the #1 CEO concern today, more than productivity, more than innovation. Morale, engagement, culture, which they are feeling is being diminished as we're going more remote. It's a top business risk, it's a top digital transformation driver in companies, translating it to communications and engagement, has never been more important, business-wise. Our intranet is amazing and totally elevates the digital employee experience, said no one in history, right? Just the word intranet makes you want to fall asleep. The gap between meaningful communication that we feel when we do social media, externally, and how engaging that needs to be, the gap between that and how we communicate to our people internally, it blows my mind. And the tools that we're using are a great example for that. Why would anyone use that? Today in 2024, generations have changed. No one uses a tool because they have to anymore, because a CIO that works top down, he's wearing a suit, he has a mustache, and he tells everyone you have to use this tool. That doesn't happen anymore. People need to feel that they want to use the tools that they have. They want to consume the information. That's the only way to get adoption, to give them what they want. Just like us as consumers, we need to treat our employees, our team, as people, as human beings, as consumers. Our belief system, which is strong and very different compared to a lot of these companies, and it's been a harder sell a few years ago, it's a big advantage today, is that online cooking classes, giving people some physical perks, this is nice, it's cute, but it's a Band-Aid. The only key, the core of a meaningful digital employee experience, that buzzword that you hear everywhere, has to do with this relational stuff, with meaningful, open, two-way, authentic communication, what we call open comms, open communication, meaningful relationships and bonds, and a strong sense of belonging. It's true for work, it's true for every relationship you have in life. So if you're planning tools or strategies for communication, it needs to start from that and then think about access to resources and intranets and boring stuff. That's it in a heartbeat. This maturity curve is how we see the market in terms of communication and how companies are communicating internally, starting with companies that are basically control freaks, right? We're very scared. Nobody should say the wrong thing. We're communicating top-down in an endless et-al newsletter telling you about everything. Nobody's reading that. CEO hates it. Employees don't read it. The middle, which is a transitional period where you do both. You have Teams, you have Slack, you have Zoom. You communicate peer-to-peer, team lead to team. But mainly, the main stuff continue to go like top-down, and people are very limited. We are sure, I'm positive, that it's going towards a place that is a lot more democratized, where we trust our employees a lot more, where we nurture employee advocacy, these social carriers out there, and let people communicate to each other, peer-to-peer, externally, being a little bit scared, giving them that confidence. In almost all of the cases that I've seen, because our customers start on the bottom of this, we can give them that option, technically, with more governance. As they get the appetite for more adoption and people to use the tool, they start to open up. In all of the cases, they're surprised because these bad things that they were afraid aren't happening. They trust their people, and they are actually surprised by how responsible everybody is. But it goes more and more open. And this is a little video about what we do, so we have context of how an employee experience platform looks like. It looks like an external tool.
Introducing Workvivo, an employee experience platform. One consumer-inspired app that unifies internal communications and engagement, becoming the digital heart of your organization. Through Workvivo's activity feed, employees can share and follow news, videos, articles, events, podcasts, and live streams. Community spaces allow you to tailor content to specific audiences, enabling a personalized user experience and increased sense of belonging. Celebrate success and strengthen team connection through employee recognition. Bring company values to life by aligning content with culture and goals. Our smart feed keeps employees informed by pushing important content to the top. Automatic weekly digest emails ensure nobody misses out. Get to know your colleagues and see who works in each team by checking out the People directory. Gain full platform visibility through our powerful analytics tool. Monitor performance, usage, and capture valuable insights through comprehensive reports. Workvivo replaces traditional intranets and multiple communication channels. A digital workplace with seamless access to key documents and resources. One centralized hub, providing full integration with all your favorite tools. Reach all employees across multiple devices in their preferred language. Transform your digital workplace and elevate the employee experience with Workvivo. One platform delivering limitless human connection.
So that's it in a heartbeat, to give you the look and feel. It doesn't look like an intranet or feel like anything like that. It's actually extremely social inspired. Is it just a social platform? No, it does a lot more. And I'm not even talking just about us. I mean, I always say to people, like, we might succeed as a company, we're doing very well right now, or it might fail. What I'm sure about is that in 3 years, just like what happened in marketing automation, in cloud-based CRMs, platformization is happening. A lot of tools are becoming one platform, one operating system for managing your digital employee experience. It has a big overlap with external employee advocacy in your social strategy. In 3 years, it won't be about if you have an employee experience platform, it'll be about which one you have. And the role that you have as communicators in operating this and inspiring your companies, finding these social carriers that could use this platform for social advocacy externally is going to be increasingly critical. With or without Workvivo, this is happening, for sure. So it's mobile first, it's in everyone's pocket, it's designed for people in the office, but also for people that don't have a desk or even an email. Was that supposed to happen? So get some dessert in here quickly. So so these people in the front line that don't necessarily even have an email, and it lets you carry the purpose of the organization and the connection to the C-suite, the recognition that makes everybody get this warm, fuzzy feeling inside to everyone. That nurse, you know that hospitals have 105% attrition every 5 years. Now, the main reason, according to research, is not connecting to the purpose, not feeling appreciated. All these people that are overworked, underpaid, became nurses, for example, or caregivers because of purpose. It's the most purpose-driven industry in the world, and they're having the biggest purpose-driven crisis that leads to these record levels of attrition. I think that's amazing. And being able to compensate some of that digitally and bring that existing purpose, pride, to life is paramount. What's the vehicle that could carry this existing amazing content and purpose and communication? That's very important to think about. So the technology is changing. Internal communications profile is changing from an informer, these big emails, to an engager. The same person that is out there in order to engage your prospects and your customers on social media. Same profile. A lot more externally facing, even if you're doing internal comms. That's part of the convergence. The emergence of these employee experience platforms are changing the paradigm, remember that maturity curve, from legacy communication that are built for IT and admins. If you ask me, IT teams are the least qualified people in the entire organization to make decisions about feelings, but they do, from something that is built for admins, so something that is built for human beings, that is community-driven at the heart of it, and that is people-centric, something that would naturally get high adoption, where people could actually get a voice as well. From talking about culture to living it every day, so not writing a big newsletter about how amazing our culture is, which everybody actually resents, but giving recognition. Not talking about values in a handbook somewhere, but we have a feature for that. You write a post, you click a button, and you could associate it with a company value. These are always top of mind. You understand what they mean because you see examples every day, and that's connected to the actual stuff you're informing people about. And the list goes on and on and on. From newsletters and intranets to modern media that we use in our consumer lives and social media, right? Podcasts that are asynchronous and are an amazing way for a busy person that works in the a Nike store to go back home and listen to that podcast by the chief HR or the CIO, the CEO of the company, asynchronously. Live streams, questions and answers, mobile notifications, the social feed at the heart of everything, a lot of ways to communicate. And finally, all of that together leads to the one thing that IT usually don't really get, and is more important than the whole big spreadsheet RFP of all the things that this needs to comply with. Nobody does, and at the end they choose to build it themselves. They take 3-4 years, they build an internal tool, it doesn't work, it's expensive, nobody uses it, right? The number one most important thing is adoption. What would my people actually use? And you need to aim at these numbers, 80, 90% adoption. What can we give our people internally that they will voluntarily use and know how to use intuitively from the get-go? The only proven thing when you look at our consumer lives is social. That's familiar. They know how to use that, and that's the right approach. So if you build it, they will come. And you don't need to ask them to adopt or giving a perk to like post 3 things every week, and definitely not make managers give recognition once a month. But you need to make it delighting, appealing enough. Benchmark yourself, not versus other terrible intranet tools, but versus the best social media and consumer applications out there, and build something that people would like to use. Employee social marketing or advocacy is brand nitro, Fast and Furious, homage right there. Peer-to-peer marketing drives 20 to 50% of all purchasing decisions. Employee advocacy is probably the cheapest program that you have in marketing, but it turns out to be the most impactful one in terms of conversion rate. And the list goes on and on. A lot of research shows the power of having people talking about your brand from an employer brand perspective and getting people to work for you, and also from a sales perspective. You know what? Because it just creates energy, a lot of positive energy and love around your company. You get that out there, and especially when you're a bigger company, it just creates a wave, a domino effect of positive inbound leads, pipeline coming to you. Your brand grows wings. It's very important. Connecting what I just showed you and creating that vibe and pride and connectedness internally, and finding the way to easily take that out there, not as a separate program. In Workvivo, by the way, it's a click. You as an admin could decide who could do it or not, but I could post something, and then I could decide to just put that on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, and you could decide how open you want to be. You could even let every employee do that. Some companies will not even dream of that. But that connection is natural because external and internal are becoming the same thing, and they require the same attributes as well, unlike before. So that's a quote by myself. Happy employees are not just the heart of your business, they're your #1 brand asset, turning every interaction into a powerful endorsement of your company's values and quality, and I wholeheartedly believe that. I believe I call myself a chief storyteller. I like to tell stories. My wife hates it that I tell stories, by the way. She wants me to get to the point. But as our chief marketing officer, I can tell you that that's true. Creating that energy around your company, it just goes a long way. Good stuff come to you in terms of brand, in terms of leads, in terms of everything. So 5 tips that are more maybe practical on how I think companies should look at communications and that convergence between external social media and communications and the internal stuff. And how you could really play a key role in this transformation that your leaders are seeking but don't even know how to verbalize and speak about. Even though, remember that slide, they feel the gap. They feel it's being diminished. And that's where you play a much bigger role than even 4 years ago. First, uniting your comms team. A lot of you already told me that they're that one-stop shop for everything. As I said, the guy's to blame. But jokes aside, it's the same practice. And when you're hiring people for internal comms, do not hire the profile of the old internal communicator that hates engagement, that wouldn't be a good fit for external communication and social media, because this profile is changing. You need people that know how to engage, how to make stuff interesting. And making it as one team makes a lot of sense. Where does it sit, by the way? It's interesting. Like, they report to different people. Some of you report to your chief marketing officer, others to HR, others have a dotted line to the CEO. I think that, that's my bet, that's what we're seeing with customer, that it goes increasingly towards a separate unit that maybe grows out of HR that's called employee experience, something that would have a seat at the C-suite, that would worry about communications in general. And that's the seat at the table that I think communications is getting in a lot of companies and will increasingly get as our role is becoming a lot more critical and perceived as critical. Anyways, united comms. Move to what we call open comms or socially driven comms, which means what we saw before, convincing your companies that this top-down approach just doesn't work anymore. It makes you feel safe, but it actually is bad. People are not using your internal comms, so they're using FaceTime and WhatsApp. Your IT doesn't get governance or getting shadow IT. Give them more freedom You actually have more boundaries and more governance because they're using the same tool. 90% of them are using the same tool and not other apps that you have zero control over. Open comms is about giving people a voice. It's about democratizing communication. It's about encouraging people to speak up, to say comments. It's about allowing CEOs and leadership to get less filtered feedback right from the field and communicate through the app like a modern age politician would do on Twitter. They're hungry for that. They want to feel the pulse of the organization. So you communicate official company stuff on the same platform. You even use it in order to connect it with your social advocacy externally, but you let people use the same platform that you're using. That's all about open communication. For some companies, it's easy. For bigger traditional public companies, it's a bigger leap, but it's absolutely where it's going, and companies will have to make that bold leap in order to see the impact. The social media manager is the new MVP. In a lot of companies, the social media manager is used to be sort of like a necessary evil. We don't understand social, we'll let you guys deal with this thing, post some cute stuff, and like I'll blame you when it's like inappropriate. But the truth of the matter is that this is a very, very hard profile to find. Somebody that understands marketing, understands communication, understands people, and understands how to engage these people. That's what you guys do externally, and now needing that internally in order to drive an effective internal communications program is going to put social media specialists on a much, much higher demand, and that's what companies should be looking for. It makes you people a very sought-after profile, and you should be able to pitch yourself like this as well. Authentic advocacy will dramatically improve your social reach and engagement. We talked about the importance of employee advocacy. If you aren't doing it already, you should start a program for employee advocacy. Make that alliance with your marketing team, unless you already work in your marketing team, and make it a thing. And the biggest key to make that work is to not separate it, to make it an extension of your internal communication plan, so you could take the good stuff that are happening internally and put them externally, and vice versa. But it has a huge impact on talent acquisition as well as on marketing and brand awareness in general, and there should be an official program for that. It's usually the best ROI that marketing could give you. And finally, we talked about this in different words, but just be important. A lot of times, as communicators, I think we feel very apologetic about what we do. We communicate what the official news that we need to communicate. We deal with like crises and see that it's communicated in the right way. This is like the age where the communicator, external and external, and especially social media specialists, which are more hard to find, it's a more rare, more important talent right now, should move from being reactive to be very proactive. Because everything I just saw, I saw you people nodding, you understand. Your companies, your CEOs, they understand the pain, they feel the pain, they don't understand that as well as you do. The importance of communication, that conversion between the external and the internal. And you should look in the mirror and see somebody that should be perceived as a lot more important and critical to the business than how comms used to be perceived until a few years ago. The world changed since COVID, expectations change, and the solution for actually elevating that employee experience, that sense of belonging, the commitment and connectedness of people, it goes through you. It goes through communication, and that convergence between engagement and communication, which to me practically translates to social media specialists, internally and externally. So you are important, be perceived as important, and pitch your ideas. And finally, a quote by one of the most important individuals that I admire, Mando, the Mandalorian. This is the way. Guys, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed your breakfast. I would be very, very grateful if you could either look me up on LinkedIn or scan this. I think it's supposed to be me on LinkedIn. I'm not sure. I hope it works. But connect on LinkedIn. I'd love to get feedback and hear thoughts from you. It's rare for me. I pitch Workvivo in a lot of events, but that's more of a sales thing. It's rare to stand in front of actual, communicators, and I'd love to get feedback from you, ideas from you about the talk, about anything. And there's a small expo hall in the other, room. We have a booth there. I'd love to show all of you a little bit about Workvivo and what we do if you find that interesting, or just have a chat. And enjoy the rest of the event. Enjoy Orlando. Enjoy the desserts.